Are your thoughts ruining your life? Trust me, I've been there. I know what it's like to have a never-ending stream of negative thoughts be attacking you all day and to not know how to do anything about them. We are not given a human training manual. Most of us just don't know how to use this mind, and so we become a slave to it. But through awareness and understanding ourselves, we can learn how to master this mind and use it as it was intended, as a tool to create our reality the way we want it. There are many tools that we can use to manage our minds, but how about we just get straight to the point, to the root of the problem? And that is, our thoughts feed on our energy. Our thoughts have no energy of their own. Our thoughts don't have any energy of their own. And so it is with our identity and belief in the thoughts that we give our power away to them. The more power we give away, the less power we have, and the more power they have over us. Make sense? And so the balance has to be turned in your favor. And so you begin retaining more and more of your power, and as you take your power away, the thoughts lose theirs. First, you have to know that you have all the power, and that they have no power over you without your permission. When you feel like a victim or like a slave, it is that belief itself that is the problem. But when you recognize that you have the power to not feed them, it's like, think about a sleazy salesman. He might be really good at selling. He might know all the right pain points to get you to buy. But unless you buy, he cannot sell anything to you. And so we purchase these thoughts, these stories, through our belief in them. And we believe them because of our identity. If you notice, your negative thoughts will always be able to attack you at your most vulnerable points, the things that trigger you the easiest. Usually, it'll be some kind of fear of illness or death or future problems. But we have to understand that these are all imaginary evils. They don't mean anything unless we give them meaning. Now you have to be careful for repeated patterns in your thoughts. Because if the same pattern is being repeated over and over and over again, it's a reflection of you. It's a reflection of an underlying problem that needs to be addressed. And it's usually the nature of the pattern or the symbols in the thoughts that reveal the answers to you. But before we can really embark on a journey of self-discovery, we need to retain our energy first so that we have the willpower to discover, so that we can gain clarity. As far as I can tell, there is really only one proper exercise to deal with this. And that is every day you get into the habit, whether in the morning or at night or both, in which you sit alone and you do nothing. Hopefully a quiet space. And you just begin watching the flood of thoughts arise in your awareness. And you keep observing them, and you keep observing. Because when you observe something, you automatically create separation from you and from the thing, the thought in this case. But you see, in our daily lives, we get in the habit of reacting to our thoughts through an attachment with an identity. And so what happens? You are here, but then you become one with the thought. Now the thought has jurisdiction over you. Now it can rub all of its negativeness on you. And you experience that as suffering. It's like a parasite or a leech. It's like taking all of your life juices. Which is why you have to create separation from the thought first. Because remember, the thought has no power on its own. So the moment you take away your power through separation, it begins to die. All you have to do is leave the thoughts alone. That's all. Do not entertain these thoughts. Do not give them any value through your belief in them. And over time, you just realize, oh wait, that's just the mind game tricks that are being played on me, and I'm not playing this game. You just refuse to play. You refuse to wage war in your mind. It's not like you can fight your negative thoughts anyway, because resistance is the problem. Resistance is what feeds the negative thoughts. Because when a thought is coming and you say, no, I don't want this, you're feeding it your emotions. Your body gets sent into fight or flight because it thinks that there is a problem. It thinks you are in danger. And in fight or flight, your body channels all your resources to short-term survival. And over a long period of time, all of your life is drained from you. And illness comes, and just a never-ending stream of suffering. Life becomes difficult on a daily basis. Depression and anxiety, the whole shebang. So step by step, you have to gain your power back. First, by claiming your authority, realizing that you have all the power, and to refuse to give it to things outside of your control. To refuse giving it to things that don't have your best interest in mind. And once you get familiar with the practice of observing, which is the most natural state, you can go back into your daily life and just observe all the time. And it's not the same as ignoring, because ignoring is like, well, there's a reason to ignore it. I don't want that thought. Go away. But in truth, it's more of like an instant acknowledging and letting it go. Sometimes you have to do what you have to do. If you have to ignore a thought, then do it. Just remember that this is very simple. These negative stories, these negative beliefs and attitudes are being fed by you. And the more they have been fed, the more power they have, and the stronger they are, and the more they control you. And that will determine how long it takes for their energy to dissipate. But just keep going. Keep headstrong in returning back to awareness, returning back to the present moment. The entire quality of our existence is determined by the quality of the things that we focus our attention on. So by focusing on the negative thoughts, we surround our life in negativity. Simply by taking our focus away from them and focusing on something else, something that is positive, this too can take away the power of those negative thoughts. For example, we replace a negative thought with a positive affirmation. This, I think, is good for a later practice because you don't want to be in this war in your mind of like, okay, there's a negative thought, let me replace it with a positive affirmation real quick. Okay. And you're always in this just like battle of pushing positive affirmations out. When if you just simply observe, you can remain in peace. And when you have enough peace and you have enough stillness and you have enough space between the thoughts, now you can add in positive affirmations and it doesn't feel like a war. It's just easy, it's more natural. You're not in resistance. This energy is the force of life, and life is flowing from us and through us, and it is directed by our focus and attention. And so whatever we focus on, that is what we give life to. And whatever we take our focus away from, that is what begins to die. The forces of entropy begin to weigh on it and it withers away. So don't give your focus to anything that you do not want to experience more of. You see how people create hell for themselves in life. It's that unconsciously we are always giving our attention to things that don't serve us, that serve no purpose. And slowly, day by day, the life within us is drained and death takes its place. The light within us goes and is restricted, and darkness is what takes over. To the degree in which you experience suffering on a daily basis is the degree in which you have been separated from your light, your life. And so how you escape misery, depression, all of the terrible things that we can experience in this life, and I'm referring to more perpetual long-term suffering, is that step by step you become more aware of where your energy, your focus is being directed toward. And you take it away from the things that don't serve you and you give it to the things that you know are right and good. And you know things that are right and good or wrong and bad by how you feel afterwards. As they say, regret is your guideline. The process is simple, but the mind is complex. Most of the battle is simply getting distracted, forgetting, and then returning back to remembering.